Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jacob with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. I'm joined once again by Sherri Divband. She's amazing. She has books, she has courses, she has people visiting her. She's starting new schools for children that are extremely advanced. And she's got some, every time we come on, she's got new stories about that. One of my favorite, Sherri, was the one where you talked about how one soul that came in here came from seventh dimension and spent 100 years learning how to handle the information on the 3D level. Just incredible. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know there's a lot we're going to cover today, so let's jump in.
Yeah, we could start with that. And thank you for having me back, Michael. I love being on your show.
Love having you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I have the honor and privilege to work with amazing children all over the world, and people need to understand that the training that goes into these children agreeing and volunteering to come to Earth right now is astonishing. I mean, 50 to 100 years. And this is not just the one I was talking about. I've talked to dozens and dozens more. And that's where Eden had come in. Whoever has seen the video that I did recently, a message from a child in the States. I won't give too much of his information out. And there's a training facility in Alpha Centauri specifically designed for souls from everywhere. It's not just from there, to train, to understand how. And I know that there are others. They have them in Arcturus for people who are coming in and learning how to do healing. There are some in Pleiades. I mean, they're everywhere, but this particular one just happens to have a lot that my clients and the children that I work with have been there. And they want us to recognize just how vast the training is. Because if you can imagine, I mean, to make it the most simple for people to understand, because density is very confusing to a lot of people, including myself a while back before I really understood it. Mm-hmm. Think about being a doctorate in something. Okay, so you have gone through a lot of schooling and you have reached, one of the highest educational markers in our society anyways. And you volunteer to go back to kindergarten in order to help the kindergartners, because there are no teachers. There are a lot of teachers that are out, and you're really needed, and you need to go back. How difficult that must be to bring yourself back into that mindset. And these children are putting their own evolution on hold. And they're not children, these souls, is really how I should put it. These souls are putting their evolution on hold so that they can come here and be in kindergarten again, because, and this, not to make Earth sound like we're kindergartners, but to metaphorically make it make sense, that's the best way I could put it. And it takes a lot of training, because it's not just about the intellect. It's about what they're capable of doing in a higher density. It's instant manifestation. They are mainly in a light body, telekinesis, telepathy. They're in an environment that's a much higher density and dimensional field, so they can do things very quickly, very easily. Mm-hmm. Everything is fast, and that's why a lot of the children right now are having a difficult time. They say I'm bored, or they don't like the structure. They don't like being told no. They don't like the principals and the teachers and all the rules, because where they come from, like those things just don't exist. Those were designed. That's a construct of Earth to keep us programmed and in control and under power. And so they're here, and a lot of parents, I feel for them, because they're having a really difficult time parenting them, and me, myself included, as I talk about my poor daughter so many times. She's one of them, and I love her dearly, and she's teaching me a lot of patience, but I also understand what it must feel like to be them, and how they're here to say, no, this isn't right. I don't want to learn this way. This doesn't make any sense, and actually talk back and stand up for themselves, because that's actually what they're here to do. But in the older generations, and a lot of society who's fully programmed, they look at them as, oh, they're bad kids. They have behavioral issues. Why does their parents spank them like I was, put them in their place? I hear that all the time. And that's not what they're here for. They're not here to learn. They're here to break through these walls that we've created of programming, and it has to be done this way. And it takes a lot of years of our Earth linear time for them to kind of prepare themselves for what they're coming into, because it's, when you're in a higher density, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot before, where, your soul is like, yeah, sure, I'll come in. Sounds great. I'll do that. It's no problem. Right. And then they get here and they're like, oh my God, what did I sign myself up for?
No
Because
doubt.
when it's one thing to say you'll do it, but then once you get in this environment, it's like suffocating. And
Mm.
many adults, not just the children, there are many adults that are feeling the exact same way. I mean, I have clients, like I've said, that are in their 90s, all the way down to pregnant women, and I'm working with them, the children in the womb, and everywhere in between. So I have a vast experience with all age groups, and everybody is having a difficult time right now because we have never had so many starseeds come to the planet as we are right now, and because they're all here for the same exact mission, to help Earth in this ascension process, this great awakening. And I think I said this on your show last time, there are more Venusian children than ever before, and that is an indication to me that they would not come here because they are of the love vibration, because it literally hurts their soul to see people fight, to see war, to see the conflict. It literally unravels them. They would not come here. They would not agree to come here if they didn't know that we have passed this pivotal marking period of this spiritual war, whatever you want to call it. If we haven't gotten to the 11th hour, they wouldn't come through. They just wouldn't. Why would they come if we hadn't made a significant amount of progress where they can now come in and open up the hearts of all of the people that are waking up, that are in fear, that have anxiety, they're frustrated, they're confused, they don't know what the heck is going on, what's up, what's down, what's sideways, what's truth, who's telling me the truth, and I don't blame them. And so these children are just here to gently open up our hearts, very subtly, but very profoundly.
And you're creating a school for these children too. I wish you'd started this when I was a boy. So, so I remember going through school thinking, they're not teaching the right stuff here.
No.
I would literally, go and do my own research. And sometimes I would come into the classroom and actually teach. And the teacher was like, could you come up and teach that? And it was amazing. So I think there's a lot of children that are out there, even more like you're talking about. And, to have a place where they can really accelerate their learning, like the stuff that you're doing right now, is going to be amazing going forward.
Yeah. And I'm really excited about it. And it's something that I had no idea how big it was going to get. I was just talking to somebody on the phone today, somebody that is interested in funding this project, because it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and I'm happy about that. But beautiful. It's very overwhelming. I originally just wanted to create one beautiful spiritual center in my area for children. That was my thought. That was my intention. That's what I was manifesting, and my daughter, before she was even born, I talk about this a lot, or I channeled her throughout my entire pregnancy. Before I was even thinking about having a third child, she came and said, hey, I'm joining your family. I'm here to teach you, and what you're creating is going to be for me later on. Like, I will take this over. And I didn't really understand it at the time. And so I really was just trying to create just a nice, beautiful, spiritual center for children in my area, one little center. Yeah. And then I spoke about it publicly about almost a year ago. And I can't tell you how many parents and teachers and just interested parties were contacting me. Well, when are you going to open one in our city? We need one. And I was like, oh my God, the universe is trying to tell me, Sherri, think bigger. Like, this is bigger than just what you had originally imagined. And it would make sense to me. Why would my daughter take over this one little center? This is like something huge that I'm creating for the children of the future. And it's the atmosphere is meant to be an opportunity for children to express themselves, to learn at their own pace. In what I am envisioning is an environment where children can learn a variety of things, all the way to the very basic beginner level. What is spirituality? What is a soul? All the way to the advanced level of the children that I have the pleasure of speaking with, that are telling me their life on Mars, which I told you in one of our first interviews, or what planet they come from, or how many lives they've had, and what they're here to do, what their gifts are. So, and everything in between, because that's the children need to be learning about their senses, energetically connecting with one another, what our emotions mean, and how to shift your vibration, how to channel your emotions, how to garden, how to connect intuitively, the list that I have created is like 100 to 150 long. And that's how many classes in my mind I have written down for these
Wow.
children to take. And it should be free. Honestly, it should be free. Anybody should be able to come. And the children, we need to get rid of the grades. Okay, so no more children that are 6 years old are in, what grade is that? First grade. Like, we need to get rid of the grades, and it needs to be a range. So children that are in the similar range of maturity and interest level will go into categories of education. So they will learn at their own pace, and it will be completely catered to the children. Like, none of this, the children have to be catered. We have to cater our children to the network that they're plugged into currently and have been for hundreds of years, because how has that worked out for any of us adults and any of us that have passed on? It's only designed to help the 1% of the population. The rest of us are set up for struggle.
Yeah.
And we need to shift that. And so my youth centers have really turned into just an opportunity, a sanctuary for our children to go to be taught by like-minded, genuine, wonderful light worker teachers, and children can teach children. And it's a safe, absolutely safe space that children can go and learn with no pressure, no judgment, and no competition. And a lot of people have trouble with that. Michael, I can't tell you how many people get mad at me because I want to get rid of the competition. That is paramount right now, because our children are constantly feeling less than, and they're comparing themselves to what other children are able to do. And this is an individual human experience. When people come to Earth, they come here to have this human experience, and it's unique to everybody. Everybody's gifts are unique, and that should be celebrated. And I talked about this in the most recent cartoon series video that I did, I think the 5th one, where children need to celebrate their uniqueness and stop comparing themselves to other children and what they're doing, what they're wearing, how much money they have, what their grades are, and really say, hey, learn to express and shine in the way that makes them feel very present and without judgment. And so the schools that I'm creating, and I don't like to use the word school because I don't actually know if it will be curriculum based just yet. Perhaps it will grow into that, but really it's just a center. I like to use the word center because this is a place where children can get grounded, they can learn, and they're free to explore their gifts in any class format that they prefer.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I think really that's the future. I think, people are very unhappy with the school systems right now across the country. There's, parents that are going to meetings. Now the Justice Department's going to get involved because parents are getting out of line, I guess. So I think that, as we move forward, we're going to see this breakaway from that old system and this creation of new systems like you're designing. And as we go forward, that's definitely what's coming. So I saw in your YouTube, you had incredible Sherri Divband. That's your YouTube site. It's really blowing up now. So I just looked at it a couple of weeks ago, and it looks like it's almost doubled and tripled. So everybody's really starting to find you. You came in and you talk about a message from Eden of Alpha Centauri, the New Earth Collective. And we talked a little bit just before we came on about how a lot of people seem to be having issues and so forth, understanding these new energies and what's going on in the world right now. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Biggest questions that I get on a daily basis, almost through emails or through comments on my videos, is what does it actually mean to raise my vibration? Because we keep repeating that over and over again, and I thought I was doing a good job explaining it, but sometimes we have new listeners who are joining us for the first time. And so it might be those individuals. And I just thought it would be a good idea to go over that a little bit, because I truly believe we're at the point of no return. And I was actually given that exact statement in a session in the last few weeks by someone's spirit guide that said, we are at the point of no return. This is the 11th hour, whatever you guys want to call it. But really, we are at a pivotal marking period where we need to at this point, we need to start standing up individually and recognizing our power and our sovereignty and not consenting anymore. And we have to be in the right vibration in order to do that. Because if you're in fear, or you're not feeling that you're good enough, or you're confused, or you're not sure, your vibration is going to be low, and you're not going to feel motivated or have that clarity or that peace to really fight for something, because you don't know what you're fighting for. And that's the issue right now with all those people that are waking up currently, is they don't know what's next. What does all this mean? Okay, I understand that I've been lied to, but like, okay, now what? And those are the ones that are struggling the most. And so those are the ones that I strongly encourage to go inward. You know, too many people are hanging on to every video that comes out, which has great information. And I'm not telling people not to watch these videos, but we're really being encouraged to go inward and take the time to raise our vibration. And so what does that mean? And I reflected a little bit about it before I came on, because I was like, if I could just give people like 5 things to focus on. And I think number 1 is releasing the fear right now. Okay, because we have been programmed within the fear matrix for way too long. And people are breaking free of the fear matrix, and now they're trying to figure out what is next. So we need to release the trapped emotions of fear. And there are a lot of great books out there that teach you how to do that. But my favorite is through breathing. And everybody should do this exercise every single day, at least once, if not twice. And I've taught it to children, and it's the easiest thing you can do. But the issue with fear and judgment and worry and anxiety is there's an energy attached to that. And it gets lodged in your energy body, our light body, and then it comes through the chakra system and into our physical body, and it creates blockages and it lowers our vibration, and then it manifests physically into physical symptoms that people are experiencing right now. And so we have to create a pathway. We have to move that energy through and release it. And one of our most powerful things that we have as a soul, as a sovereign light being, is our intention. So if we are intending to release all the emotional energy that no longer serves our highest good, we have the ability to do that. People just don't know that they can. So if you stand in your power every single day and you tell the universe, I am pulling up any and all energy that no longer serves my highest good, whether or not it's mine or someone else's, because a lot of time people are carrying emotional energy that is their neighbors, their spouse, their friends, you know, or just the environmental energy. It's not even their anger. And you take a nice deep breath, you hold it there for a second or two, really feel it. And then you have a nice, really long, intentional exhale. And you say, I choose to release this now. I am releasing this now. And you do that 5, 6, 7 times over a span of like 2 minutes or so, you will feel the tension in your body just start to just release, and your heart rate will go down. Your body will switch from that sympathetic mode over to the parasympathetic mode, where dopamine and all of that good stuff can actually start coming out, and you feel light. You literally feel like a weight has been lifted. And if everybody did that every single day, all the accumulated energy and emotions that we build up, whether we are aware of it consciously or not, we release it. And that will, in and of itself, raise your vibration. And then what do you do with that?
That's really good. When I taught the hand-to-hand program, that was one of the key things that we taught when the guys would do multi-fighting, to do that breathing, so that otherwise they'd go into that, you know, fight or flight situation and they'd be overwhelmed. And I did the same thing when I was in combat zones. It was a breath. So that breath basically just took away all the fear, just washed it out of my system. That's really beautiful. That's a great share. Thank you.
It's so powerful, Michael. And it is simple. You know, when I teach it to children, I simplify it. And I just tell them 5. So when my daughter, she gets really upset, really emotional, and very frustrated because she can't instantly manifest things like she wants to. So I tell her to sit down and take 5 deep breaths. We do it together. Take a nice big breath in, hold it, big release. So when you're working with children, you want to simplify it. For those of you watching that have children, you don't need to tell them to release energy that's not of my highest good. Forget all of that. They know innately what to do. Their soul is going to help them through the process. So breathing in 5, and you count with them. 1, 2. Do you feel better after 5? Most of the time she says yes, but if not, we start over. We do, okay, let's do 5 more. And then you'll slowly see them to calm down. So this is a great tool for children as well. The other one is we need to expand our light. We have been taught always to seek outward. Ask for the angels, ask for your guardian angels, ask for your spirit guides, ask your pastor. I mean, the celebrities. I mean, everybody's always looking outward to fulfill themselves, to gain knowledge, and to access information, and we have everything that we need within us. And so if we just expand our light, it's the most powerful thing, because we're not asking the universe for anything. We're not calling in anybody. We are just using our own light and expanding it out. And so you just visualize this beautiful, your ball of white light in the middle of your belly. And that is your life force energy. And you visualize in your mind, after you've done the breathing, that it is expanding so bright. And again, I do this with children, and they absolutely love it, because they actually will feel it, and they sense it, and they know it. And you expand it out until it's outside of the body. And now you have a big ball around your belly outside. And the next thing you know, it's in your feet, and you're inside this ball. And you don't stop there. Your ball of light can start to change shape, whatever it wants, but it's in every direction as far as you can go, down, up, side, back. I mean, everywhere. It's similar to creating a Merkaba of light, but instead of actually drawing the geometrical pattern, you're just expanding your light as far out as you can go. And this it does several things. It raises your vibration to the maximum potential in that moment. And it will protect you so profoundly that any energy in the atmosphere will not be able to gain access to you, because it's too high vibrational for all the lower dimensional beings and energies that are trying to attack people right now, because they've lost their hosts. And that's a big issue right now, especially for children, because children are being targeted. So teach your child to just visual, and you don't need to scare them by saying anything about the dark. Just say, your light is powerful, and close your eyes and expand it as far as it will go. I have a couple of children that I work with that are targeted, and they see beings with red eyes, and they explain them very clearly to me. And I tell them, next time you see that, close your eyes, release the fear, do your light, and make it so bright that it's blinding, that you can't even look at it. It's so bright. And I can't tell you, these, at least 2 or 3 of the children that I'm working with came back and said, oh my God, Miss Sherri, it was amazing. And they never came back. And so it's very powerful. Our light is very powerful. It's our life force energy. Yes. And Michael can't take it from me. No one can take it from me, because it's mine. And no one can take it from you, because it is what keeps us alive. It's what keeps the soul and the body activated. And Excellent. That is our gift and our power. And so, Excellent. The combination of the breath work and releasing trapped emotions and expanding your light, those are 2 very simple ways that people can raise their vibration. And Excellent. it doesn't involve a lot of work. It just involves intention and belief. Yep. And those I can recommend.
I did a workshop this weekend where I taught exactly that. It's so amazing that we're doing the same work in different ways. It's absolutely beautiful. I knew I had to talk to you for some reason. So in this workshop, I was basically teaching guys, this is what I did in combat zones. I would expand this ball of energy of love around the entire city, and there would be no more attacks. So then I taught everyone in the class how you can do that too with your own light energy, expanding it out and then anchoring it so that it's all, because I do muscle testing and I affect people's energies. But when they do that bubble of love, there's nothing that I could do to affect them and take their energy or anything like that. They're completely powerful. So that's fantastic. You're teaching little children to do that. Oh my God.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
And the amazing thing about children, Michael, and why I love them so much, it's effortless and easy to teach them. They don't have reservations. They get it. They're like, okay, yeah, got it. Next, what else you got? And they do it, and it works. When I work with adults, there are blockages. They say, I'm making this up. I'm not sure if it's real. And they have to release all of that programming. And trust in themselves, because that's the problem. Our society is not designed for us to trust ourselves. Right. We're shameful, and we have these sins. That's bullshit. Let that go. We are powerful beings. We are not here because we sinned. We are ever evolving souls of light that are having experiences, and there's nothing sinful about that. So we need to take our power back, and that's what's important right now. Yes, there's a lot of things happening in the background. I don't speak about those things because that's not really my area of that I want to have these interviews about. Many other people are talking about those things. What I try to focus on is how can somebody be the best version of themselves? And that is what's important right now. And what is your journey? What is your role? How are you contributing? And I just want people to understand that it doesn't have to be on this vast scale. it's unique to every single person. So my journey is helping as many people as I can heal and get through this ascension in the most powerful way. How can I empower as many people as I can to take this journey and walk this journey in strength and empowerment and sovereignty and discernment, so that they know what they can trust and what they can, and how to tap into your intuition, But I also am very focused on the children. I know that I'm on this planet to help the children and set the trajectory for the future of our children. And that's a huge task, but I'm ready. I'm willing to do it. But I also am a mother, and I am trying to be the best mother that I could be. And I make mistakes all the time. And I forgive myself. I say I'm sorry. One of the most profound things a parent can do is tell your child, oh man, I was wrong. I do it all the time. I'm like, oh, Skylar, mommy was wrong. He's like, it's okay, mom. Next time, we make mistakes, and that's okay. They need to understand that it's all right to make mistakes. It's okay to apologize. And it's okay to understand that we're all evolving and working to make ourselves better every single day. And if we teach our children that that's okay, they would grow up in a much different space and a different vibration than all the pent up adults out there that are so full of anger because no one ever taught them how to channel their emotions, and that it's okay to feel remorse. It's okay if you can let it go. It's okay to say you're sorry. It's also okay to be right. It's just the humility that comes with it. And we're also trying to teach our children that if you are right, we have to teach them kindness and compassion for the ones that were not right in that conversation. There is so many things right now that are happening, and it's all about connecting to your higher consciousness so that you can be the best version of you. And if you're not on a public platform like Michael and me and many other amazing people that I watch, and writing books and doing seminars and talking to hundreds of people, doesn't mean that you're not contributing in a positive way. Everybody is playing their role, and it could be that you are you are meant to just shine your light to as many people as you can, and you don't need to be in a public platform. So everybody is contributing the best way they can, but in order to fully contribute and to be of service to others as opposed to service to self, is to let go of the ego, to forgive. People need to forgive everybody that you're so mad at. I don't care if it was yesterday or like 25 years ago, you're still mad at somebody that did something to you. You got to let that go, because all it's doing is anchoring you to that person. And they've likely moved on, and they're probably messing with somebody else, and they don't even care about you anymore. But you're tethering yourself to that person energetically. Being the best version of yourself takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of work, and it's uncomfortable for a lot of people. And that's where people are struggling right now, is because they don't want to. They don't want to do it. They don't want to deal with the work. They want somebody to come in and rescue them. And that's what this 11th hour is about, Michael, is about. There's only so much that can be done for us. Now we need to stand up for ourselves and heal and evolve along with everybody else.
Yeah, and your wonderful book, The Intuitive Transformation Evolution. I'm gonna read a little bit because I was reading it earlier. It's really, really outstanding book. Good job. Since words, thoughts, and emotions carry energy, like we've been talking about, they vibrate differently depending on whether the emotion is heavy or light. And I teach this everywhere. I did this when I was in combat zones. I could see the guys that were heavy, and they would attract that. So we'd keep them out of our space, because a lot of times those guys unfortunately cease to exist going forward. For instance, if you are in a state of anger or fear, your energetic vibration will be low and dense. The energy flow in and out of the body will become disrupted and unbalanced, making you feel fatigued and not yourself. So every time I've been in this state of consciousness, this anger or fear, it's really taxing, like you're talking about. Whereas if you're happy and vibrant, your vibrational energy frequency will elevate, making you euphoric, as the energy flow throughout the body is functioning efficiently. So when I do these workshops, I show people energetically through muscle testing. They'll hold the thought of anger, and I'll show them how they're weak with that. So a lot of people think, if I'm angry, and I have power, I'm powerful. It's like you're completely weak. And then I have them focus on the thought of love. I actually manipulate their energy. I show how when I manipulate energy, how they're weak. I'll manipulate the energy, and I have them hold the vibration of love, and they're even more powerful than before I tested them. And the same thing with the group. I'll manipulate the energy and I'll have the group send them love. So when you're talking about how people are holding vibration, it's very important, and it does make a difference, because I'll have people, focus their love energy at someone that I've, manipulated their energy so they're weak, and they're way stronger, way stronger. So it's very, very important. Very, very good stuff.
Yeah. And, as we co-create our future right now, what you focus your energy on is going to give power to it. And so, oh, sorry, I thought I was about to get disconnected. What you focus your energy on is important right now, because that's what's incredible about each one of us, is what I focus my energy on affects the collective consciousness. What Michael focused his energy on affects the collective consciousness. That's why if everybody participated in a higher vibrational thinking, tapping into the quantum energy field as opposed to the fear matrix, then we would God, I mean, the potential is actually endless. Like I can't even
absolutely
put words on it, because we are elevating ourselves to a new way of living. And that is what our soul brothers and sisters out there are trying to teach us, which is why they come in, which is why there are so many here to teach us. And that's what these children are here to teach us, to connect through our hearts. Connect through our hearts and not through the ego, because the programming in the fear matrix is about connecting through ego. They teach us from day one, think. We got to take a test. We have to do this. You have to go to work. And it's all about finances and money. And it keeps us in that fight, flight, or freeze mode chronically. And we're going to have adrenal fatigue. And we're not taught to express or channel through our right brain. So our creative side, that is our expression of our heart. And that's how we should be connecting with each other. And that's what our children are teaching us. That's why they're so filled with love. And just a hug from them will make you feel 100 times better, because they are literally lifting your vibration out of fear. Because like you said, I have an illustration in my book, where I have a picture of a person, and they have, fear, anger, worry, all of these words that represent the emotions that they're feeling. And it's like a crunched little person, like they can't even walk. It's like so heavy. And then the visual next to them is maybe the person has released some, and maybe it's just one emotion, and they're walking, somewhat normal now. Like, oh man, I feel good. I got that weight off of my back. That is the true weight of emotions. And it's really important that people understand that, and that they have the power to release it easily, just like that, through intention, through breath work, through meditation, through exercise. Meditation is not one size fits all. And I talked about this in an interview the other night. I don't really connect with meditation anymore. I used to, and I would sit there forever. And now I'll go for a 30-40 minute run in my neighborhood. And I feel incredible afterwards. I feel like every breath I took, I was just constantly, my intention was, as I run and I breathe, I'm releasing tension, energy, anything that is not serving my highest good, I let it go. And that works for me. Some people like to swim. Some people like to take a nice bath in some salt water. Whatever works for you. It's all about just allowing yourself some peace, and not thinking about all of the things in the fear matrix that you've been connected to, and release yourself of that.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
So you have divinely guided children, is New Earth children. And we've talked about this, several times. People really are interested in this information. What is the interest in this? I know we're talking about how you can heal yourself, and you can heal your environment, and your thoughts are they manifest what you most think about. Why are people so really guided and wanting to help children and help uplift children? What's going on with that?
Well, I think it's because they're the future. Like, what other reason are we doing any of this for? At some point we're going to expire. Actually, I don't actually believe that. The truth is, I feel like we are shifting significantly. And once we are in the true Great Awakening and the Aquarian age, we actually will get a choice as to how long we want to be here, like it used to be back in Lemurian times and Atlantean times. But let's just say that we decide that we're ready to check out. Then what exactly did we do this for? It's for the children and the future of this earth and the planet, and where we're headed. We need to invest as many resources, maybe not all, but as many resources as possible to raising these children with spirituality, with integrity, with oneness, with connection, with the understanding, and humility, which is why I created the cartoons. You know, I don't know if any of your viewers have seen any of my animation cartoons, but it's a huge passion project of mine, because I'm trying to introduce the things that these children, all the children should know from as they're brought up, but unfortunately they don't necessarily have the parents that are aware of the spiritual topics that I bring up, and the schools certainly aren't teaching it, so they are completely unaware. And so this is a good way for them to kind of just get introduced tidbits of information about things that I've already said with the vibration and the breathing exercise. I've had an episode on that. The next one coming out in a few weeks is all about the chakras. Then we're bringing in animals into it. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And so this is a great opportunity to showcase what it is that I'm trying to help people teach their children, and what the children should be learning, so that, you know, future generations, it's like, it's not a big deal anymore. You know, like they're already learning it. They already know it. It's not, you know, we're building the stepping stones for the future generations, because if we truly want humanity to evolve, it starts with our children, and how they raise their children, and the children, and then the you know, you keep going forever and ever. And this is that point. This is why Michael and Sherri and all the millions and millions of beautiful people on the planet are here. We all are playing our roles somehow in this ascension. And mine happens to be, you know, helping adults, but really focusing on the children. And if I didn't have my 3 beautiful children, I may not have ever taken this path, because I too had a closed off heart. I thought humanity was awful and people were mean, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. And I was just very introverted and shy and quiet. You know, people that knew me in high school look at me now and they're like, who is this person? Like, she didn't like people. She didn't, you know, like, I was just kind of like, you know, bah humbug to the universe, because I hate it here. And now I'm like, hold on a second, instead of being so negative, what can we do to change it? And that's where we are right now, because I don't want any child to experience what I went through. And I'm certainly can say that a lot of parents out there watching this, they're like, I don't want that for my children. And so it's about recreating and shifting the trajectory of our future, because they are the most important thing.
Yeah, so this is going to be really nice when you start having these in different locations. So I had a mutual friend that came there with her children. What do you get when you have parents come in? How do you teach the parents?
Well, that's a good question. Usually I'll end up doing a session with the parent, because they see that the child gets so much out of it that they're like, hold on a second, I want to have a session too. So generally I will end up working with the entire family at one point. But that's, you see how I have parent classes too, intuitive eating, spirit group for parents. Like, I'm trying, and this is part of the youth centers that I'm creating. We can't just focus on the children. We, you know, the parents need some guidance too, because they're also waking up to their spirituality and they're trying to understand all of this. And so I would like to continue offering programs and sessions for the parents as well, because they can't be excluded in all of this, and neither can the adults, you know. But I'm sure that there will be plenty of healing centers out there, because I have seen it through the sessions that I've done with my clients, who I'm like, oh, I can see you working in a healing boutique, doing this particular thing. So everybody has a role in you know, in this ascension process. But yes, the parents are definitely not left out, because they need guidance, you know, as well right now, and they need their own healings, because they have the programming that they're trying to disconnect from and work through.
Yeah, so your website is divinelyguidedchildren.com if anybody wants to go and check that out, which I highly recommend. Very, very reasonable courses. I'm surprised you're not like overwhelmed right now. So
I am.
I am. Okay. So how are you dealing with that right now? Do you have more staff?
No, yes and no. I have a lot of beautiful teachers that are helping me teach the courses, and and they have done, like this month, we've had a lot of great classes that I have hired some teachers to help me, so I can focus on the one-on-ones. I mean, I wish I had a clone, because I have people that need guidance and help right now, and I'm booked through March of next year. And I feel so bad, and I'm such a nice person that I'll just squeeze people in. I'm like, here. And then my children are like, Mom, where are you? We never see you. And then I get sick, and then I can't sleep at night. And then, and I'm like, hold on, I have to create boundaries for myself,
Right.
because
Yeah.
as an empath and as a compassionate, caring person, just like you and many others, we have to remember to take care of ourselves.
Mhm.
And, I can only give so much before I have to fill my cup up with something, and that means that I need to take time for myself. And so, yeah, I am overwhelmed. And I don't sleep a lot, and, but this is just part of the territory, right? Like,
Mhm.
I'm motivated to help as many people out there, whether they're, like I said, 90 years old or they're just born, because it's something that I can do and I can contribute. And I'm not going, I'm doing my best. I really am. But when the youth centers open up, I have to have a whole staff, because I'm opening up 5 at least in the first year, and I can't be in all of them at the same time. So we'll have fully staffed, vetted teachers, the whole 9.
No, that's beautiful. And you're right. Sometimes we don't get a lot of sleep, but we know how to move that energy, how to handle this stuff. Like last night, I drove all night, 24 hours, just to get here so I could have this beautiful, because I'm thinking the whole time, oh, Sherri Divband, I can't wait to talk to her. And I talked to Nicholas Binyamin, hour ago. So, I'm excited about this work. I'm excited about, what's coming for us. And that gives me motivation to do like crazy stuff, like, drive all night, so I can do these shows. But I know you're doing like incredible levels of stuff, and your ideas are absolutely amazing. You're building on stuff. You're trying, I know you're trying to do, you have a lot on your plate and you're trying to do it all. It's very difficult. I'm glad to see that you're, getting some more people come in to help you out. That's what I've been doing too. It really makes a difference. You're very, very telepathic. How did that actually develop in you?
My children, like I
Mm.
said, I was very closed off. I could communicate with animals, but I
Mhm.
wouldn't even, there were too many barriers around people. I wouldn't let anyone in. I had very few friends. I've trusted very few people, even to this day. Not many people are coming in and meeting my children and my family, because I'm barely strong on the boundaries.
Good.
But when I had my first son at 23, man, he cracked open my heart like I wasn't even expecting it. I mean, I just was a different person almost immediately. And I started feeling like, man, I want to create a better environment for him. It was about him. So it was kind of selfish initially. And then I started noticing other children. And I was like, wow, this world is, if you shift your perspective, things look different.
I
Right.
know, right?
And then
Yeah.
I started really, I was spiritual before that. So I was really into like Sylvia Brown, back when
Mhm.
she was on Montel Williams. And I read all the books
Exactly.
and the
Good,
James
good.
Van Prague, like all of the ones back then.
The
I mean,
preparation work, yes.
yeah. And I was like, I believed in it. I was into it. I was spiritual. Yeah. But I didn't really try to tap in until my heart was open, because then I was seeing things from a different light, and my vibration went up. And I can't even tell you, Michael, this, like, the first time I tried to connect, I couldn't believe it. I got a beautiful message from my spirit guide, who I knew was there. I could feel, but I'd never tried. And the door just opened for me, and it was just like, it just exploded from there. And now it's effortless. And I don't say that from ego. It's just,
Mhm.
I've created such a divine connection with my higher self, my soul, and my guides and my galactic family, that I close my eyes and they're right there. I mean, they're always with us,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
really to communicate, and I had an interview the other night with Julia and Carly, 2 amazing, I love those girls. And they asked me, I think it was them, and they asked me, have you ever not been able to connect with anybody? And I said, no, not once ever. And knock on wood again. I've had challenges because people had entities blocking me,
Right.
and they had these webs of darkness around them energetically that I had to get through.
Mhm.
But I have never not been able to connect with somebody telepathically to get some sort of guidance for them or do some sort of healing. But could I have done that at 23 years old? I don't know. really don't know. I think it's a process. I think that it's taken me, and then each one of my children, that was the other thing, is each one of my children, I noticed a shift in me, and because I'm very reserved. I'm actually quite shy, very introverted, have very few friends. Like I'm calculated. My husband is exact opposite, charismatic. Everyone loves him. He's outgoing, like complete opposite. And
Right.
my daughter was the one that really changed me the most. She's 7 now, Aramis, the one that's the challenge. But she brought something out in me that I didn't know was because I thought you have to be strong in this world, otherwise people will kick you down. So I was more on the masculine side of my energy because I felt like that's how it needed to be, right? So I was very masculine. And I don't mean like I dressed like a boy or anything, but I was always like, Sherri was tough, like I had this tough exterior. I wear black all the time, like don't mess with me. And then, when my daughter came, she taught me a valuable lesson because she showed me and she modeled to me. I call it, there's a chapter in my second book called The Princess Warrior, and it's about her. She taught me that you can tap into the divine feminine and also be strong. And I saw her, like she taught me that. My 7-year-old daughter taught me that more than anybody else I've ever met in my life, where you could be beautiful, you can be feminine, but you can also be strong. And I watched her do it. And I would always sit in awe of her, watching her at all ages say, God, I wish I could be like that. I wish I had that confidence. What happened to me at what point that diminished that? And we all know what experiences we've had. And so I focus on, oh my gosh, I don't want to crush that. I want to blossom that for her. But as I'm doing that for her and creating that space for her to just be you, be strong, but be a girl and be feminine and be masculine and strong. I saw myself change. And then I slowly and people would recognize it even more. They're like, Sherri, you've changed. Like are you wearing pink? Like, you know what I mean? It's not just about the clothes you wear, but just the more feminine aspect of me came out. And now like I feel like I've got a good balance going. But you never know who's going to teach you something. It could be your child. It could be a friend. It could be someone you meet for 5 minutes in your life and never see them again. Or it could be a long-term relationship, a spouse, a parent. The point is that we all have some sort of important role to play in this planet, in our lives and in other people's lives. It could be such a momentary shift in somebody by being around them. But my daughter really taught me how to tap into the masculine and the feminine energy, and then that it's okay to do that. And I think you and I talked a little bit about that in one of our interviews previously, that we really are being encouraged to bring the divine feminine back. That is what's getting us through the ascension, because we've been programmed in the masculine for so long. They've taken that feminine away. And I'm a good example of that, because I was so tapped into power and this and that, not power like in the sense that I wanted to control, but like if you're strong, no one can take you down. And I didn't access that divine, beautiful feminine within me. And now that I see the power when you're able to tap into both, the possibilities are endless. And we need to teach our children, and everybody needs to access both sides of you, because there's a reason that we have it. And we don't have to be fully masculine or fully feminine. We need to draw the two together and have a nice balance of the two, because that's where the power lies.
Wow, that's so fantastic. And I had the similar side where I was just like very, very masculine and very tough, and but I always had this little thread of the feminine coming in, as far as like the intuition and the angelic realms and stuff like that. And then when that really started to come in was really when I started going to the Native American side, where it's very much into the Earth Mother. And the seventh, everything was about the meditation and the prayers. And then the last prayer was for the 7th generation yet not yet born. So that, we're always focused on, 7 generations out, the children, how do we develop leave a better world for them going forward? So for me, it was developing that feminine side. Once I developed that feminine side, all of my other masculine skills went to another level that would never have been possible without tapping into that side. And so I totally agree with you. It's fantastic that you're, promoting that too. So it's great to see women really tap into both sides, because that's kind of what I'm teaching. I'm trying to teach men, but I'm also teaching a lot of women. Women are like you talk about, maybe they're super feminine, and they don't understand the masculine side, but they see how much power is there, and they're always like, I don't know. But I show them, and you show them as well, that by tapping into that and balancing both sides, you're at your highest point of power, your highest point of achieving, of giving, if you want to give to others, which I highly recommend, and you're doing as well. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's where it's at right now.
Yeah.
We're learning. Part of the deprogramming process is we have to relearn. And that's what 2022, I believe, is going to be about. That's where we're headed. Is as can't even speak, as the matrix falls down, we have to rebuild it. And that's going to take a lot of work. And I can't tell you how many sessions, one after another, that I do every week, where their higher self is telling the person, their soul said, hey, get ready. You think you've been bored and you're saying you want something to do? Well, you're about to get really busy. And I see it over and over and over. And I'm like, man, like, we're about to get real busy as a society, as humanity. And that's a good thing, because it's an exciting rebuild. It's like, ooh, like, what can we create? What can we do? And, they're without any boundaries, without any limitations. And that's the other thing that I wanted to say today that I forgot earlier, is that's part of the raising of your vibration. Instead of focusing on all the nitty tidbits of dates and all the bad stuff and all the stuff that they're putting on the TV that people shouldn't still be watching, but let's say you still are, you turn the news off, stop listening to it. They're trying to broadcast fear any way they can. And they're desperate right now, because they know they've lost. So they're just throwing things. They're just throwing swords, and you're just trying to get people. And so if we stop focusing on what they're throwing, and just focus in our heart, what it is. What do you want the new world to look like? What would be in the highest good of humanity if you could design it? Doesn't necessarily mean that is the exact thing that's going to happen, but what it's doing is you are projecting, you are co-creating energetically and manifesting, putting your focus on whatever you think would be beautiful for humanity, that's fair and equal and just. And the possibilities truly are endless. And that's how we co-create, because Sherri can't possibly think of every little detail that the new earth needs. Michael can't. No, nobody can take that on. That's why we are in the process of co-creating. So if we all just focus on building our light, or not building, expanding our light, releasing any and all energy, any trapped emotions that's not of our highest good, just let it go. And then focus our attention on, wow, let's get excited. What could these youth centers look like? What would I like the healthcare system to look like? What would I like the political system to look like? And I can pretty much guarantee it's not going to look the same. And people get really angry with me. And I've been saying this even back on your show months and months ago. I have been told, and I said this on Nicholas's show a while back, a couple of weeks ago. I reiterated it. I said, stop trying to plan what you think it should go back to or shift to, because it's going to look completely different, and you don't know what that looks like right now. So you can't possibly focus your attention on something you don't even know what it looks like. Just know that it's in the best and highest interest of humanity, and stop trying to put people in roles, because it may not look anything like that. And I'm not saying I know exactly how it looks. I have an idea, and I'm sure you do too, because of the way you're looking, but I can't share everything. But I can tell you that it's different. And so if we just say, you know what, instead of focusing on things going back to this other person, I'm talking in code, perhaps expand it to, wow, what are the endless possibilities, and what could that look like for humanity? Because that's the whole point. We have to break down these old systems to create new systems, and they don't need to replicate the old system. That's the whole point. We need to shift it and change it. That's why the youth centers that I'm creating could actually end up being curriculum based, even though that's not what I'm focusing my energy on. But if that many people are really, I would say this is a high number. 90% of my clients that are parents in the last year, but more specifically in the last 3 months, have taken their children out of school. Wow. That's a huge amount. I mean, I have a lot of clients, okay? Like, I'm talking lots of clients all over the world. I'm out of this country too. If that many people are taking in control of their children's development and their education, they will create the space for them to do what is best for their child. So if I have a youth center that's open during the day, that's offering a yoga class or a telepathy class or a crystal class or meditating in the garden class, why can't they bring their child in the middle of the day? And the next thing you know, it could turn into something that is curriculum based, that's recognized, because everybody wants that. It's whatever is in the best and highest interest of humanity in all aspects of life, whatever you look, however you look at it. Like I said, politics, education, the medical industry, and everything in between, that's where we need to look. So if everybody just focuses on the future and the highest good of humanity, and if you're overwhelmed by it, well, I don't really know what it would look like, that's okay. Just focusing, I am focusing on the best and highest future for humanity. And then that's it. Visualize it in peace and harmony, in joy, in balance, compassion, integrity. That's it. You don't have to picture the specifics if that's too overwhelming. But for those of you that have specifics, go ahead, by all means, like, visualize it, write it down, focus your energy on it, project it, and if everybody on the planet did that at the same time, I mean, come on, Michael, right? I mean,
it would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because I've done it with, small groups of Navy SEALs where we do the impossible, when we focus our minds on stuff. And if everyone had that, because I would teach guys overseas, they're only like, maybe out of all the guys that I work with in the CIA, I think maybe less than 1%, half of 1% really wanted to learn this stuff, and I taught them. So it's very, but just us working it and doing stuff made a massive difference. So me as a warrior, I could do, amazing things. I've learned a lot. I can fight with, anything, all kinds of different weapons, all the way down to hand-to-hand, improvised weapons, everything. I can only affect in that environment just so much. But when I go to love and I broadcast that love from my heart, that energy transforms hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people, and there's no attacks. As if we move forward and we have more like us, like you and I, and the children you're teaching, and the parents that you're teaching, and the people that are being inspired by our work, we transform the world, like you're talking about. And all the stuff you were talking about, I just constantly got chills. My heart was opening up. It was you've really reached a very beautiful point. So how can people reach you? Divinely Guided Children LLC. You have that. You have your books on Amazon. What would you like for them to contact you?
The easiest way is through the Intuitive Wellness Center, the main website. It's so hard to handle the two websites. Honestly, I need an administrator, but that is the best way. intuitivewellnesscenter.com.
Okay.
And unfortunately, and I apologize to all of you, sincerely, I don't have anything available till next year as far as sessions go. So help me not have to answer a million emails by people asking me, do you have anything sooner? I don't have a wait list anymore. After like 50 something people, I couldn't keep track of it anymore. So I don't even have a wait list. So I really apologize for that. I'm doing the best I can. I'm just one person. So bear that in mind when you're reaching out to me for that. But yeah, please, you can support me though. Watching my animation series, sharing it with as many family members, friends. I have a lot of adults that watch it. They don't even have children, and say, Sherri, I've learned so much. That would be really helpful, just to get that blown up. And if I can get the attention of some producers, perhaps I could get that funded, because I'm paying for it out of pocket right now, and it's very expensive. And so, if anyone's out there that says, hey, I want to invest in the animation or contribute, please reach out to me, because I would just be beyond grateful for that.
Yeah, I have a lot of people in my audience, and people that I work with I think might be interested in that.
Yeah.
So how do they reach you on the animation series?
Well, they can just go through intuitivewellnesscenter.com. Sherri at intuitivewellnesscenter.com is my email.
Okay, I'll put that in the links. Great.
Yeah, that's the easiest way, because I check that one multiple times a day. the children's site, I check it like every couple of days. I just can't keep up with all the emails. So that's the best way to reach out. Yeah.
And you also have your YouTube channel, and your latest one is the one you were talking about, telepathic timelines and taking action with Carly and Julia. So that looks, I haven't seen that yet, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. So Sherri, thanks so much for coming on. I always, look forward to our discussions. I think you're just blossoming. When you first came on, it was like it's like, come on, Sherri, talk. Sherri, talk.
Oh, I'm shy, man. I'm shy.
I know. I had to go through that too. I'm introvert and shy too, but
putting yourself out there is hard, because there are comments and people will judge you and they'll say, who is this crazy person? Like, it's really hard to put yourself out there, like this, so it takes some time to get that, that confidence up. My daughter's teaching me that. Okay.
Well, you're doing a good job learning from her.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell her thank you for all of us.
I will. She'll love that.
Excellent. All right. And look forward to speaking to you in the future, and lots of love out there to everyone that joined us, and we'll see you guys again next time.
Bye, everybody.